Here's what I'm wondering about. Where in the world
Is Carmen San Diego?
Yep.
That was good.
Attaboy. Where someone's perception and reality gets so far off that it's just mind-boggling.
US of A, 2020 to now.
What do you mean?
Everybody now, their perception is their reality.
Well, I mean, what I'm going to go through is I experience in coaching, I see a lot of individuals in which they believe their skills are at a certain level when they're clearly not. And I'm not speaking of anything specifically, but I'm just saying, like, there's such a wide gap between the perception and the reality. And especially
self-awareness has become skewed over.
well, and it's about the parents to their kids. Like last week's episode, big fella, you recognize what your kids are doing to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to, figure out how to do it. But there's some people that would have zero issue with it because their kids are just, they can never be wrong or
My
take
kid
advantage of a
is so
situation.
popular. Somebody wants him to come over every day. Most popular kid in school.
I hate that.
Is that a real thing?
I'm
Yeah.
just assuming that's their perception of some folks. Like, oh, sure, I'll drive you here, Mr. Popularity.
But is it the parents living through the kids? Like you used to hear,
Vicariously.
good pool there. Like you used to hear about it with as it relates to sports.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, Dave, you're not a big sports guy. You're a horse guy.
Yeah, I am not pushing my kids to do sports to make up for my shortcomings in any means, because I'm pretty good at drinking beer, and I don't need them to make up for what I can do.
But let's use Max as an example. Max is obviously going to play football, right? I'm not saying anything that's
Yeah, he
out
plays
of turn.
football.
But are you going to be that dad on the sidelines that's like, hey, Alabama's coming up to look at him? And you're like, dude,
You can do it, Johnny.
there's no way. His 40 times this, his bench is this, his squat's that, his awareness is terrible. Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, there's some people that believe their
I feel
children.
like you're being awful hard on Max.
No. Hey,
He's got a club foot. He ain't playing in the SEC.
Max is going to find out.
Oh, super educational colleges. Super educational.
Oh, God.
I can do what SEC stands for.
Southeastern Conference.
There you go. That's what I meant.
I know exactly what you're talking about. People that think that their kids are God's gift to that sport.
It's because you both are coaches.
Yeah. And then you look back and you're thinking,
Really?
but the funny thing is you look at like a team sport.
Water polo.
Sometimes they can get lost in the fog. You know what I mean? Like your son or daughter doesn't play shortstop. But the shortstop that game sucked ass.
Maybe it was just an off day for him.
But you automatically know that your son or daughter didn't f up that game because they were the bat girl.
Can't f it up if you're on the bench.
And they're
True.
So that automatically makes them better than that shortstop that had a bad day.
Yeah.
Better riding the bench.
And then they just instinctually live in this fantasy world where they think that, well, he didn't play that much, so he didn't have an opportunity to screw up, so he's got to be better than the kid that's out there screwing up the whole time.
I just
And they believe it.
and I have that conversation with Janelle all the time. If my kids are terrible at sports, let it be. If they want to, like, I hope I'm grounded enough to know, like, hey, Zoe, softball's not your thing with that swing because there's a lot of holes in it. She's 7, obviously, so it's not like that big of a deal. But if I'm
Maybe cut grass with a reaper.
yeah, that'd probably help. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those deals like where I tell Janelle all the time, like, because Janelle's not a sports person. Like, you could put her in Dave's category.
Yeah.
Like, she would want my kids to, oh boy. Like, and we support,
What you got to say?
we support cross country. We support our runners.
I was in cross country in 6th grade.
With the bitchins.
Didn't do very well.
Oh,
Get out of here. It's hard to smoke cigarettes and run 3 miles.
I don't know. I knew a couple guys that did it.
Yeah, I played rugby against some guys that were ripping darts.
Hey,
and warm
he's
up.
doing better.
Who is?
One of the guys who knows that smokes cigarettes are in cross country.
Oh, yeah, I know. I saw that post. I'm glad he's doing well.
Yeah.
Hard to believe it's been 6 weeks.
Doesn't seem that long.
No, it doesn't. But I don't know. I just struggle with it. Because, like, I'd love to be the one that, like, pokes the hole in that bubble, but it's not.
Now, see, now I
Like,
feel
how do you
bad
get out of that?
Self-awareness wise, because to your point, like, hey, I like sports. If my kids aren't good at it, I'd be like, hey, well, maybe you should
Work harder.
try chess or whatever. And I like watching my kids play sports. But like the last 2 weeks, hey, we should go to this game. Why? Our kid ain't playing. Like, I just couldn't give 2 shits less about sports. I'm sure there's some good things that come from it, like, I don't know, premature back injuries, shoulder surgeries, knee
problems,
surgeries,
ankles.
all sorts of good things that you would want your child to have when they're in their late 20s and early 30s. But I just can't give a shit. Like,
So the perception versus the reality thing is not something for you. Like, it's not a problem
right, because
for you.
my perception of sports is so low. Like, I mean, I like watching UFC, and I'll watch the Super Bowl, and
Who won the Super Bowl this year?
good call.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Philadelphia.
We're a Cardinals house, and I like going to watch Cardinals baseball.
You love to drink beer at Cardinals.
That's exactly right. And I made the comment to my wife because she was like, "Let's go to this baseball game," and it was Jasper versus Vincennes.
That was a good one.
Unpopular opinion: Vincennes is a big part of my life, and Vincennes is where I thought that I'd die. Like, I was going to move back to Vincennes someday.
You really love Vincennes that much?
I love it so much. I learned everything that is me from Vincennes. Like, at 100%, like, that's where I became me, was Vincennes, Indiana. America's first college, or Indiana's first college.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know. I just get weirded out going to children's games if I don't have a child playing or somebody to watch,
A mild form of pedophilia, I do believe, is what Dave told me one time.
It's exactly because nobody'd feel good about going to a park and watching kids play on the monkey bars.
Yeah, that's awkward, though.
Yeah, so is going to watch kids play baseball.
Yeah, but it's open to the public.
So are parks.
Yeah, but sitting down and watching a kid play across the monkey bars is different than a
Semantically, we are saying the same thing, and I know we have differences of opinions, but the Little League park is just as public as the playground park, and watching somebody else's kids play at it is weird. I don't care who you are.
Well, I mean, at that age, yeah. Like, if there was some random guy watching 6U
Okay, so let's put
softball-
ourselves at the public pool, and you're watching all the high school girls go swimming.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, okay, so that's a sport.
Yeah, but they're not swimming; they're lifeguarding.
No, I'm talking about just, there's
Talking about a high school swim meet.
no, yeah, high school swim meets and just going to the public pool on a Tuesday at 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't because I'm not a big swimming guy.
Again, we're just different spectrums of the end.
There's a spectrum here for sure.
Rhythm with the tism.
By the way, have you ever watched what is that show with autistic individuals and they get in relationships?
Love on the Spectrum.
Have you ever watched that?
Mm-hmm.
I will get that one couple on TikTok.
Austin?
I don't know which one it is. One of them was going to the CMAs this week,
Yeah.
or in real time this week. But another one, I forget the other guy, but it's kind of cool.
Tanner.
Yeah, it might be it.
He's the one that loves Jack Black.
Ooh.
Jack Black. That's all I got. I don't know. It just was one of those things that perception versus reality when it comes to your kids. Find a way to be more grounded.
Being able to
But isn't everybody's reality just a matter of their perception? Bum, bum, bum.
being able to admit the fact that your kid sucks ass is really hard.
I mean, I guess that's what it comes down to.
No, it's 100% what you're talking about. Being
Yeah.
able to admit or agree that your son or daughter sucks ass at the sport that they're trying to compete in is an extremely hard pill to swallow. Because you know the amount of work and time that you put into
That's a good point.
the sport or how much they put into it.
Doesn't meet up to what they need to do to
Exactly.
be successful, but they
Exactly.
think they are
But they
successful.
think they are. Or
Yeah.
they go to God, you're getting worse as they come along. You go through great lengths to make sure that
It
my
looked like
God,
fruit
the
out of the water.
circus in here. But you go through great lengths to make sure that they get the same opportunities and experiences as everybody else. But like at the end of the day, here's my take on this.
Give it to us.
At the end of the day, there comes a point where the competitive edge has to come through.
Yes.
Now, 6U softball is not the time for that.
Agreed.
7U, 8U, 10U softball is not the time for that. You start getting into like high school and middle school baseball and middle school football, middle school baseball, high school football, high school baseball, high school basketball. There comes a point in your child's life where you're going to have to basically let that reality slap you in the mouth. That is,
Have you ever thought about factory work?
we are here to win games.
Mm-hmm.
And we as coaches, or they as coaches, are going to put together the most cohesive, athletically sound, and competitive squad that they can put in, regardless of what sport it is, for one common goal.
Yes.
And that's to win football
Now, let me
games
ask
or
you
win
this.
baseball games. And if your son is not part of that cast,
And then the real problem is
Work
Let me
harder.
play devil's advocate.
work harder.
Let me play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Why do you let that kid on the team?
because we're a small school and you need the numbers.
But if you're never going to let him play because he's just not good, he just doesn't have it, or she doesn't have it, why do you put him on the team?
What happens whenever the kid that does have it gets hurt or has a doctor's appointment or is sick? You just not going to play? You just
A loss is a loss, right? Whether it's a forfeit or a loss isn't the same thing, and just save everybody's gas money and time. Why go to the game if you're going to lose if all it's about is winning? A loss is a loss. There's not a fourth number in the, the 2 and 1 and 1. There's not another one for forfeits because our kid was sick, but we tried.
But that's where the competitive edge comes. If you knew that you were going to win every game, then what's the point? What's
But
the point of being
if you're
that
not going
dominant?
out to lose, why put somebody on the team that can't bring something to the table?
Because in reality, you'd probably have a handful of kids and that's it. So, like in football, like
So if
You-
you're not going to win anyway, why go? Why play at all?
Because what if you do win?
But you're not. If you're just going for
How
the
do you
best
know
kid.
you're not going to?
Because this kid doesn't have the athletic aptitude. and
Today.
we know that.
Today,
I was just going back to your argument. Of
Have a
sometime
day.
you got to have the
have
talk,
a day.
and it's just
Have
not
a
gonna,
day.
It's just not going to happen.
Well, yeah, I got cut from the middle school basketball team because I fucking sucked. And that was blatantly obvious. You don't cut kids from football teams unless they're shitheads. You know, you can only play 9 baseball players at one time. 90% of the time, a baseball team doesn't
So why
carry.
have more than 11?
Huh?
So why have more than 11?
Because it's a full contact sport and you have skill players. It's just a different sport, situational.
I'm saying baseball. Why have more than 11 if there's only 9? That's not a full contact sport, is it? Baseball?
Can be.
Could be.
Is it considered that?
Well, and I guess what it leads to, though, is it leads to these adults that we sometimes see in like your workplace or my workplace that have zero. And I guess that's where it comes to a deeper reality, is when you can't have that dose of reality early on. Not that you want to completely ruin it all, but to make a well-adjusted adult to where it's like, dude, you can't handle me having a conversation with you because you think that you've grown up in this bubble where, and I guess that's the bigger thing. I mean, we got caught on the sports stuff because that's where we see it. We coach, your kids play. But I guess more of like in the workplace, like this day and age, like communication with some of these kids, like verbal, like in-person communication, the interpersonal skills.
It's terrible.
And
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But it's one of those things. Don't hang your head, Dave. You're okay.
I was looking at my feet.
But it comes to one of those deals where, like, if you screwed up at work and your boss came in and railed you a new one about it, you're not just going to look at him and say, well, I quit because that can't be possible. Like, you're going to find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, when the perception versus the reality hits, the answer for a lot of times is, well, just quit because obviously they're wrong, or go find another team. Like in the travel sports situation, like that's the part where it bothers me is, and I know Dave is not a big sports guy, but I think there's a lot of valuable lessons learned.
Now,
in
granted,
sport.
I love my kids playing sports, and I like watching my kids playing sports.
Yes.
I just don't get
Just
it.
not anybody else. So, like when he watches a baseball game, he hyper focuses on only his child,
Yes.
no one else. Because then that's a mild form of pedophilia.
But
If your boss comes in and tells you that you're being a lazy and you say, yeah, I know, I am, I need to pick it up, and you make an adjustment, and then you don't be a lazy shit anymore. Or if you come in to work and your boss tells you that you're being a lazy and then you look straight at your boss and say, no, you're stupid. That's wrong. I'm not lazy. That's where that whole perception versus reality.
And I guess that's where I was
comes
going deeper, is it starts at these early ages. And not that you should ever ruin a kid's dream of what he wants to do, but there also has to be a dose of that. Like,
Yeah, I wanted to be an NBA star. Thanks a lot, Scott Blasey. You know what I mean?
oh, Scooter Blasey.
You know, but in reality, it's like
Never heard of her.
this kid is never going to be able to make it up and down the basketball floor. Not a chance.
Yeah.
You know, duh. Yeah, I know. I sucked, so I got cut. And then you move on. And then you go to the next sport. And then you find success.
You hope.
You hope.
But I guess that was the deeper part of it, is we see these kids.
Participation trophy, folks. I honestly think that when did that shit stop? Or start? I mean, I remember getting participation trophies like for soccer when I was a little
And you know, this is
on the yellow team.
I've been all for saying I've got hot takes. I don't think participation trophies are bad as long as that it's obvious.
There's an
that
emphasis on that you still got
means,
something.
hey, thanks for coming out and trying every week or every day or every month or whatever the schedule is. We recognize your effort. Now, when you confuse participation with, success, that's a different thing.
That's exactly what.
But so I don't have a problem with participation. Like, hey, little Jimmy, you suck, but you're persistent.
Hey, thanks for showing up every week.
Yeah. So it's just like the whole win or lose thing. Like, you know, that they don't keep score when they're this age, or they don't, whatever, because by design, you're not there to win, you're there to get better. But then there comes a point when the whole time you spend not keeping score, all those experiences and all that time builds up to where, all right, now it's time to start keeping score. Now it's time to see where all
Sink
of
or
your
swim.
Yep, all of your hard work and your preparations it's time to shine. See where you shake out against the rest of them.
And I think
then
that
if you
should happen.
suck and you lose, then you've got two choices, man. You can either fix it
or quit.
or move on. And I feel like a lot of people just move on.
And I think it should start earlier, though. Like, there's a winner and loser in life. And, like, the sooner you can
Right.
do that and figure out a way to communicate that.
I would be supportive of. So I was, exactly what you're saying, I was thinking of. And where I'm driving at here, I guess, is okay, nobody's winning, nobody's losing, we're all learning. Seems like there should be an intermediate area. Like, hey, little Jimmy, I know you've been on the team for 4 or 5 years now, but in 2 years, you got to earn it.
Yeah.
We're not going to let you go now, but you better listen. Because that would be the only thing I'd say, and that's what I was driving at, the why let him on the team. You get to a point to where it is winning and losing, and if that's the goal, don't let the loser on the team. Like, you let the loser on the team, and then the loser thinks, well, I've got a right to be here like anybody else.
Yeah.
Does that kid know that he's a loser?
And that's the entitlement.
Have we let him know that? Or did we just
pass it
assume
along
that he would figure it out when the time came, and now you got some little shitbox here that thinks he's as good as the best kid on the team just because he's on the team? And maybe that's where we're getting lost at, is just by not wanting to hurt feelings.
Bingo.
Not wanting to hurt feelings, we don't let people know to see those lines. In
People
the
out
sand.
there that are afraid to call a spade a spade.
Right. So at
And
fourth
not
grade,
being able- and
fifth
not
grade,
being able-
we say, hey, we've been telling you for 6 years, you've got to be able to hit the little round thing. You got to hit that with that stick, kid. If you can't hit that with that stick, the Mendoza line's real. You got to be at least doing 269 or whatever the it was.
one something.
And if you can't, well, maybe be good at reading. And then just let little Timmy know that you suck, kid. Get better or get out. Instead of just, yep, you're on the team because that's how we've always done it, and now you're here. And, well, your job is just keep that bench from moving.
You just got to look at the long line of successful programs in any sport and just kind of see how they do shit. And I guarantee you, in these successful programs, and you look back through it and everything like that, there's probably a lot of people with hurt feelings.
Correct.
But at the end of the day,
feelings don't get hurt if there's a clear definition of expectations.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no gray
Not to
area.
say they won't get hurt, but there's no reason to be hurt. You knew what you were signing up for.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson to learn at any age.
Amen.
It's very thought-provoking and profound.